Hi, this is math for real people. So what we're going to do today is solving for a variable with multiple steps. So hopefully you've already done the one step and the two step, and now we're going to add to it. You also have to know how to combine like terms. So check out those videos if you don't know that already. And let's get started. So the three things to remember here, and remember you already know the other things, is you need to combine the like terms on each side of the equal sign. So you can see that right here in step 1. Step 2, after you do that, you're going to get all your numbers on one side and variables on the other. And then step 3, get the variable all by itself. So you might have 5 x's, you only want 1 x. So that's just the one-step solving that we already know how to do. So ready, set, let's get started. Combining like terms on each side of the equal sign. So you look at it separately. You look at this side first. Do you have anything you can combine? Do you have either whole numbers or like terms? Yes, in this case you have x's. You have a 2x and a 3x. Now remember the sign in front of it goes with it, so we're looking at this. 2x, we know to add it because it's a 2x and a plus 3x. So together that's going to make 5x. We just bring this subtract 1 down because we didn't do anything with it. And then we look at the right hand side. Can we combine anything over here? Clearly no. Oops. No. So you bring down the 19. Alright, step 2 says get all your numbers on one side and variables on the other. Well, this is the two-step equation. So if you recall, we say we're unwrapping our variables, so we need to get rid of the wrapping paper first. So get all your numbers on one side, keep all your variables on the other. So if you're moving something to the other side of an equal sign, you're doing the opposite operation. So this is a -1. We need to add 1. That gets all of our numbers on the right, and we bring down our variables on the left, equals our numbers. And then step 3, it says get the variable by itself, so do the opposite. We are still unwrapping it. It's being multiplied, so we need to do the opposite of multiplication, and we need to divide. Also, if you already know that answer, then you already know that answer, right? And you are done. You got your terms all together on both sides. You only had to do it one in this case. You started to unwrap your variable, and you got all the numbers on one side and variables on the other. Then you got the variable by itself. You can always plug it into the original equation. You always want to plug into your original in case you made a mistake somewhere. So now let me give you another problem. Okay, so here's another problem. Go ahead and push pause and try it on your own. Now hopefully you remember not to be intimidated by it because you're following these rules and you already know how to do two-step solving for variable equations, right? So let's look at this. We combine like terms on either side of the equal sign. So we look just at this side. Can we combine anything there? And no. So we look at the other side. Can we combine something over here? Yes. So I definitely recommend bringing down this side, and then so you just rewrite it, and then you go ahead and combine what you can over here. You have a 2x minus x. Okay, so 2x minus x, and that's going to leave you with 1x. Okay, so I brought down the -6. My next step is to go ahead and get all the numbers on one side and variables on the other side. So in this case, I do need to get it a little more organized because I have a variable hanging out over here and I have whole numbers on both sides. So I like to move my variables first, but it does not matter. This is where you have to decide. And I have technically 1x right here. Well, if I move it to the other side of the equal sign, I have to do the opposite operation. So I need to subtract x from both sides. I can only subtract x's from my x's, not from my whole numbers, so keep that in mind. I'll be left with 4x over here. I'm bringing down everything else. I got rid of this, it turned into a 0. And so now I keep solving because I still need to get all the whole numbers on the same side. I have all the variables together, right? So now I need to get this guy right here away from my variable. If you look at it now, it's a two-step solving equation. So you say, okay, well, I need to unwrap my present. Variables are so full of presents, right? I don't know, maybe, sure, okay. So I get rid of that, and I'm left with 4x equals negative 10. Well, the last step is to get the variable by itself, so do the opposite of that. So it's being multiplied, you need to do the opposite and divide both sides by 4. This is not going to be a beautiful answer because not all answers are beautiful. And then you go ahead and you say negative 10 over 4, which you can reduce that down to, it's still going to be negative 5 halves. Or if you like to put 5 divided by 2 is negative 2.5. Whatever, however your teacher says. Let's try one more. Okay, so here's a harder problem. It's not really harder, it just has the same steps in it, but more of them. So if you already could do the other steps I showed you, you can do this. So don't get scared because things are longer, but pause this and try it on your own right now. And you're back. All right, so we look at each side of the equal sign and we need to combine our like terms. So I'm going to switch up some colors here. Looking at just this side, what can we combine over here? Focus on one step at a time. Yep, we got y's and we got whole numbers. We have 2y and a plus 3y. Remember to look at that sign in front. That's going to bring us 5y's right there. And then we look at our whole numbers and we have a negative 7. The negative goes with it and a plus 2. Negative 7 plus 2 is negative 5. So we're done with this whole side. We have combined our like terms. Let's go ahead and put the equal sign and see what we can do on the other side. So if we look at just this side, what can we combine? Yes, exactly. The negative 4y and the positive y. It's negative 4y, positive y. That leaves you with negative 3y plus 6. I'm bringing the 6 down because there's nothing to combine it with. Our new problem has begun. And then we go ahead and get all of our variables to one side. If I'm moving my y's to one side, I need to do the opposite. It doesn't matter which ones you move. I like to move the ones that were negative and make them positive, just because that's how I roll. Oops. And then I want to bring down, you do not want to forget the minus 5 is still there, and you do not want to forget the 6 on the other side because you've only worked with the variables. So now you're in your two-step equation, you unwrap your variable. So on the side of the variable, what can you get rid of first? Yeah, the 5. Do the opposite. Add 5 to both sides. You're going to be left with 8y equals 11. And your final step is to get that y by itself. It's being multiplied, so you divide. And hopefully you were close to this. And no, it's not a pretty number because I made them up. And in real life isn't that pretty. Textbooks are going to have more pretty things, prettier things. So I hope this made some sort of sense to more steps. Just please remember you can do more steps. Hopefully you've watched the other videos. If this was confusing, check those out. Thanks.